Hey kids, welcome to art class. Today we are going to be doing Aboriginal animals, and this is a two-part project. So we will do part 1 this week and part 2 next week. Part 1. Today we're going to be learning about a country called Australia and the animals and the art that is there. Today we are going to be learning about a type of art called Aboriginal art. Aboriginal art comes from a country called Australia. Australia is very far away. Australia has lots of cool animals. Some are pictured here like kangaroos, spiders, lizards, koalas, snakes, and crocodiles. Here's a picture of Australian Aboriginal art. Notice all the dots that are in it. Here is another picture of Australian Aboriginal art, including some animals with dots. Australian Aboriginal art uses lots of dots. We are going to be working on dots next week and animals this week. Now, what you get to do is you get to pick an animal that you are going to draw. We are lucky we have our computers at home because you guys can search any animal, but it has to be an Australian animal. So some options would be crocodiles, spiders, snakes, koalas, kangaroos, animals like that. If you can find some other animals like maybe some cool kinds of lizards or unique animals, then you guys can do those too. Just make sure you tell me what animal you did. Okay, so I want you guys to grab a piece of paper and grab some crayons and come on back. Okay guys, welcome back. So for our project today, we are going to be needing a white piece of paper, a pencil, and some crayons. So I didn't say pencil before, so if you don't have one, go ahead and grab one now. The first thing you're gonna wanna do is you are going to want to think about what animal you want to create. Remember, there's lots of animals in Australia, so you guys can choose any sort of Australian animal. I decided that I'm going to do a lizard. So I'm gonna take my pencil, and you guys are more than welcome to look at a picture on your computer as you're drawing to get some ideas and to learn how to draw it a little better. But I'm just gonna kind of freehand a lizard. And if you can notice, I'm doing my lizard kind of dark. If you guys want to do it a little bit lighter when you're first making it, that might be a good idea for you because then you can erase. But I just want to make sure you guys can see my lizard. And there we go, now I have a fun little lizard. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be done with my pencil and I'm going to use some crayons to decorate my lizard. So I might outline my lizard first in another color. That might be the first thing I do. I'm going to use some green because I think a lot of lizards have green. Some lizards even change colors, so you could really do a lizard whatever color you want. And remember, you can do whatever animal you want on this. You don't have to do a lizard. You could do a koala, you could do a kangaroo, any sort of cool Australian animal. You could do a dingo. A dingo kind of looks like a dog. But really, it is up to you. I'm really liking the way my green lizard's looking. I love its long tail. Awesome, now I have my lizard outlined. I think I might want to put a design on my lizard, so I'm gonna grab some more green, and I think I'm gonna grab some yellow and orange. I'm gonna use these colors on my lizard. I'm gonna take some light green. I'm gonna draw like some X's on the back. So I'm just drawing some lines, and then I'm gonna cross them the other way, like that. I might draw some more even in between, like this. And I think I'm gonna fill these little guys with, I think I'm gonna do some orange. So I'm really trying to make my lizard look super detailed and interesting and fun with my colors I'm using. These things that I'm putting on my lizard are called designs. So I'm using line and color, which are two important principles of art to fill my lizard. Awesome, now I have its main body filled with color. Here's it a little bit closer so you guys can see. I like how it looks a lot. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of a darker green. I think I'm gonna add some lines over here to its legs. What I'm doing here is I'm going to be mixing colors with my crayon. So I put some lines, see how I didn't color it totally in? You can still see some white in there. That's important. I'll show you what that'll look like next. So now I'm gonna take this green color that I used over here on these lines, and I'm going to add that green to the color I just drew. And that'll give it a really unique look. And it'll look more like an animal, because animals usually aren't just one color. Usually they're lots and lots of shades of one color, like green. So now look at those legs. Those look super cool. And they almost kind of look like slimy, like how a lizard might be. So I'm gonna do that to the hands too. And this is when I'm really trying to fill in all that extra white space that we left blank before. Awesome, I love how this looks. Now for the head, I think I might do some orange, but I'm gonna do some yellow first, because I already used that orange. Oh, and look at, I'm accidentally mixing the yellow and the green, but I actually kind of like how that looks. That works for me. Then I'm gonna add some of that orange that I used. Ooh, that looks cool. It's really coming together now. I'm trying to think about what color I should do for the tail. I think I want to do the darker green. Oops, wrong one. It's okay. I can go right over it. You could even put a design on your tail. You know, me messing up right there gave me an idea. I think I'm gonna even put some of that green back in. And then I might even put some of the lightest green too, because I still have some white space. So I'm gonna try the light green too. Now I'm really filling all those white spaces. And you know, I'm even going to add a little bit of orange, some hints of orange. Now, I really like how that turned out. Look at those colors I have in my lizard. I'm also gonna give my lizard some eyes. I'm just gonna use the black for this. I'm just gonna draw 2 ovals. And I think I wanna give my lizard a slimy tongue. So I'm gonna use the red and draw a little tongue. Now here we go, my lizard is completed. I think it turned out nice. So now I'm gonna push my crayons to the side and I'm gonna grab a pair of scissors. Here's my scissors. Make sure you guys are very careful with your scissors. You always wanna hold them when you're carrying them like this so that you are not going to accidentally hit someone. So always hold your scissors like this. And then we are going to be using the scissors to cut out our animal. When you guys are cutting out your animal, it's very important to turn the paper and not the scissors. So watch what I do. I'm not taking the scissors and turning them. I'm going to turn my paper with my one hand. And I'm going to cut with my other hand. This will help you to get really clean lines. Be really careful that we're not gonna try to get those jagged edges. We're going to try to do a really nice and smooth cut. Be really careful around any small areas. Like my hands are pretty small. I'm just going really slow. If you accidentally cut a little piece off, it's okay, don't worry about it. You guys could always glue it back on later. So see how my paper is really turning now? What I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to cut over that area like this. And I'm just gonna cut that little piece of the paper off. So now that is out of my way. Now I can get back in here and work on this. What I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna start from over here. I'm going to cut my lizard out. All right, it's almost all the way cut. Over here at least. Awesome, now that piece is gone. Now I have finished cutting out one hand. You guys are gonna have to do this for the whole lizard. So let's keep going. It's so, so important to take your time when you are cutting. This will be a tough area, this tongue, because I don't want to cut it off. Notice how I'm not going all the way in and out every time. I like to use the inside of my scissors up here. I just do it a little bit at a time. I'm being so light with my hand movements. Slow and steady wins the race when it comes to using scissors and cutting out art projects. If our art project is all jagged and messy, then that is not what we want to see, because then it makes our work look bad, and we don't want to waste all of that time that we spent working so hard on our project to just cut it out and have it look bad. That's why it's so important to take your time with cutting. The next thing that you guys are gonna wanna do is you're gonna want to flip your animal over to the blank white side, and you want to write your name somewhere on the lizard where you can see it. I'm gonna write Miss Combs, and I'm just using pencil so that it doesn't show through. So now I have Miss Combs. Oh, my lizard's sticking to my table. Miss Combs, right on the back. The next thing that we are going to be doing next week is gluing this onto a piece of paper. So I want you guys to make sure you keep this lizard very safe and pretend it's like your pet this week, or whatever animal you do. Make sure you keep it very safe and pretend it's like your pet, because you are going to need this again next week. So don't forget to keep this animal that you've done today. Okay? Just make sure you fill out that Google form. That is the most important thing. There's gonna be a couple more questions this week on there. But yeah, that's about it. Our lizards are completed. Don't forget to fill out the Google form. Make sure you bring this back for next week. We are going to be doing a second step 2 of this project. All right.